Just a Job is the podcast for the modern woman to redefine what success looks like. We highlight real women and their real stories. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Just a Job with Sarah and Ellen. If you are not listening and watching, I implore you to have the visual aspect of this podcast turned on. We have matching mic flags. We have matching sweatshirts on. Thank you, Alyssa. We are branded to the nines. We look so cute. I'm so proud of us. On our agenda today, we have a quick little stand up, just the two of us, and then sorry, I am recovering from a cold. And then we are jumping into whose episode? I forgot already.
Taylie.
We'll talk about how we met Taylie in the beginning of the episode, but she's a wonderful now friend of ours, and I hope everybody really enjoys her episode. But before we get into all of that fun stuff, let's do some stand-up tings. Hey, Sarah, how's it going?
Hi. I love this matching outfit. Maybe we need to do it every time we stand
That
or
would
do
be
our
cute.
stand-up. It would be like boys in their jerseys.
Yeah.
You know? Wearing their game day jerseys.
Game day jerseys. I'm ready to perform. I'm ready to go.
I'm never gonna wash it. I'm kidding. I am doing well. We are recording this on a 3-day weekend, and y'all, it is creme de la creme, as Ellen says with her tongue thrust. It is incredible. I'm like, why don't we do this I'm actually kind of ready to work come Tuesday. Like, I have energy. I was able to clean the house, do the things that I needed to do, and relax. Trifecta of a weekend.
Amen. It's such a tease, and it's so annoying when we do have 4-day weekends and we're, oh my God, 4-day work weeks and 3-day weekends. And it's like this evil carrot that's just dangled like, oh, look how much you enjoy this. You're going to have to wait until you have to have the next one. But I think what's the company? Burns and Mac just recently changed their working hours so that every other Friday they get off.
Sweet.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm kind of interested in that. So
Not just a summer Fridays for 2 months and you get 2 hours off of work early. Yeah.
Yep. Which sounds like it's interesting to me. So I'll do some more research on that and get back to you. But you're enjoying your 4-day. I keep saying 4-day weekend. Maybe I'm manifesting that for some reason. But you're enjoying your long weekend.
Like bypass the 4-day work week and just straight into a 3-day work week. Did you ask me a question?
Did I? You were talking about your 3-day weekend. You're enjoying it. What stand-up items do you have for us? That's where I was trying to go, but I didn't quite land the plane.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I didn't read the room very well there. Okay, the one thing that I had, I put death of TikTok ? And I was talking about this at work. And 2025, I deleted my Instagram, and I haven't had TikTok on my phone in a while. And you know what? My life has not changed. If anything, I think it's gotten better. And I was listening to my girls at the Giggly Squad, and Paige was saying how she was like, unpopular opinion, I'm going to be okay if TikTok goes away. Yeah. And I see both sides of it, because I do think that there's this piece of education, but also too the overconsumption of other people's lives leads to the loneliness of your own life. And I would just love to know how you're feeling about it, because I obviously have my opinion and I'm totally okay if it was to go away, but maybe I'm the lone wolf over here.
It's funny you say that, because I think I've gone through my the 5 stages of grief with TikTok going away in a way. It was almost daily for 2 weeks. It'll stay, it'll go, it'll stay, it'll go. And when it went away, the only thing that I was sad about is I have so many recipes saved that I really, really like. And Tim and I will make on a regular basis, that I was like, oh man, I lost my recipes. Obviously I could sit down and remember them and write them out. But that was my initial thought. And
Mhm.
then I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. My screen time is going to go down. I'm going to be able to, it will force my hand of staying off my phone, which sometimes I need a forceful hand when it comes to those sort of things. So I was kind of like, the concept of it like going away and like having less social media time, sign me up. Like that's music to my ears. The whole political side behind
Mhm.
it, I'm like I have very strong opinions on, which I perhaps maybe may not share on this platform. But I um I am skeptical with it coming back and what the messaging behind it will be
Mhm.
and how
Yeah.
it will change and all that fun stuff. So kind of wait to see, but um overall I had mixed feelings.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I'm just glad I'll have less social media time, but it's back already. So I'm like
I
it's like
know.
whiplash. What is going on?
I know. I'm like, maybe 24 hours of detox was enough
Yeah.
for people. Who knows?
So
We'll see. I see the cons. I see the pros of it. Very established businesses became established businesses because
yeah.
of it. There's a social platform, but it's so funny being that I deleted TikTok and Instagram off my phone. My
Mhm.
only form of social media is LinkedIn, which y'all, that's even crazier. The things people feel compelled to post on LinkedIn. I'm like, this is not Facebook.
When did LinkedIn become Facebook? I saw a woman share her experience about her miscarriage on LinkedIn.
uh Time and place. Time and place, we can respect it. But LinkedIn, Sweet Lawrence, the cookie company, well, they're like much more than
Ooh,
that
let
now.
me go look it up.
They did a campaign on LinkedIn and launched it this past week, and I was like, incredible use of this platform. That's amazing. There's so much buying power with women and executives on this damn app. But anyways, this is kind of my like Roman Empire of sorts, because I feel so compelled to tell people that it's okay to not live and exist on social media, but
Amen.
was just curious about like your perspective, because I think there are opportunities that will be missed by not having it, but again, it's already
Mhm.
back. So maybe too soon. That was
Who knows?
my one topic. I just wanted to hear opinions and thoughts and
Yeah.
have the conversation. But what about you? You mentioned that you have something to share.
Yes, well, topical with the TikTok conversation.
Mhm.
And also, today is both the day that we're recording this
Oh,
is
yeah.
MLK Day and Inauguration Day. So lots of things going on in the world right now. And what I wanted to talk about, I took a screenshot of a TikTok of just some comments that some people had made about Mark Zuckerberg's interview on the Joe Rogan
Oh,
podcast.
I didn't listen to it, did you?
I couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
could
Yep.
only digest a few clips.
Yep. I didn't try.
And one of those clips I'd like to discuss because I think it's, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Enlighten me.
Yes. So I'm just going to read the caption of this TikTok because it's not too long and it gives a good synopsis. Mark Zuckerberg told Joe Rogan corporate culture has lost its quote masculine energy. CEO
Mm-hmm.
of Meta was talking after he had just announced the UFC's Dana White would now be on the board of Meta. Rogan is a commenter for UFC and a longtime friend of White's. Zuckerberg spoke to Rogan for nearly 3 hours, and the pair discussed their love of martial arts, sparking Zuckerberg's comments about masculinity. He said that corporate culture has become, quote, neutered and how we need to bring masculine energy back into the corporate world. And as someone who is now working for their second financial institution in a very, very corporate environment, I couldn't disagree more. I think we need less masculine energy and a little bit more of the balance of the two. That's my comment, Sarah. What do you think about that?
Can you tell my face is getting hot?
Yeah.
This is the exact reason I avoided this, because
Yeah.
is that man even working in his office, first off?
Yeah.
No, no, he's probably not. He gets to come in for his board meeting every now and again, make decisions, call the shots, and wear chains. It's atrocious. Sorry, that's a personal attack.
That is
That's a
funny.
personal attack. His whole rebrand is just enough to just make me go, ew.
Yuck.
The conversation of masculine, feminine energy, one of the first self help books, self help, corporate
Mm.
self help books I read, was from, oh, now I'm forgetting the gal's name, but she was once on the board, and it was about like having a seat at the table. I forget the name of it, and now I'm forgetting the woman, but essentially she worked at what was Facebook. And it was like, you saying that is almost discrediting everything that every woman has ever brought to build your company, to make you billions of dollars. Like, I don't know, the whole we need more masculine energy. He was just looking for fights. He was looking for
Oh yeah.
a bone to pick. And it's always just going to come back to this whole male female conversation. That's fine. And that's fine. I could talk about males and corporate spaces all day long too. But sorry, Betty, it's not changing.
Yeah. I the clip that I saw was him fumbling and rambling about how, it's too feminine and now we need to bring the masculine back to like balance out the like vibe in the room, I guess you could
What does
almost
that
say.
even mean? Like, give me like on the court. What does that look like when
I
he's
don't
like, oh, it
know.
needs to be more masculine? Like, oh, we need people, more men in powerful seats. Done. It's already there. Women aren't even like, we're still not even at a capacity where women are equal for men when it comes to executive seats. Like what does it mean to have a masculine environment? Like,
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know. Well, apparently we just need to talk about it for 3 hours. So
The 3 hours of it all, I was like, holy moly. I feel like
yeah,
when we approach like 15 minutes when we're doing
we're like,
a stand up, I'm like, oh, we got to
okay,
wrap it up. That's too
and
much.
scene. Yeah.
Right, exactly. We've been flapping our yaps for too long, but apparently 3 hours was, which also just so eloquently describes the whole masculine of it all. Two men flapping their yaps about corporate atmospheres for 3 hours. Could you imagine? Hence why I couldn't watch it. That would be such a waste of my personal time.
Yeah, sorry, not happening. I
Not
don't think I could
happening.
learn anything.
No.
Mm-mm.
You know what I was thinking about the other day is this kind of sort of a topic on this. And I wasn't expecting to talk about this today, but here I am. I've been thinking about I've been considering having a male mentor. And I say that not almost in a way where I want to like just understand how the male brain in a corporate world operates. Will I be able to implement and like tactically do and act the same way a man will in a corporate environment? No, but if I can understand the way that their brain works, I can act accordingly to succeed, to get what I want in a project, to, I don't know, whatever. But I've been considering it recently and I talked to someone about it. Um, a woman who's older than I am. And she was like, this is where we are different. I had men say, inappropriate things to me in a workplace setting. So I will never, not
Mm-hmm.
I will never, but, that's not a path in which I want to go down. But I've been thinking about it and I don't really think I have an answer of what I do or
Hmm.
don't want to do. But it's more like from a psychological perspective
Mm.
instead of a mentorship perspective. Maybe I just
Yeah.
need to read a self help book about how the man's mind works. I'll let you know if I find that book.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing because yeah, that's obviously a topical conversation. I think it's all about your intent. Like
Yeah.
what is it that you're trying to get out? Because I think for so long, women, especially in corporate environments, try to embody men. Like we try to be like men. You know, when you're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, instead of an exclamation point or a smiley face, I'm going to put a period." It's like, "But is
Right.
that you? Are you trying to be somebody that you're not? If you want to put the smiley face, put the smiley face. Who cares?" Like, I think that women try to be somebody that they're not in order to
Hmm.
fit into a space. But if enough of us do that, then yeah, we are going to create this masculine energy. Like we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think if you, regardless of the sex of this person, if you look up to them and they happen to be a male, then, like, so be it. And do you respect them because they're male, or do you respect them because of like the work that they do and how they're able to get things done? Like, then yeah, go for it. I think that there's not like a world in which it's I can only learn from women. I
Hmm.
think it's um there are more lessons to be had from learning from women, I think, and more lessons that you can embody because there's things unfortunately, barriers in place that like I'm speaking to you like I'm not a woman. We'll never be able to have like we're just not men, and men are not
Mhm.
women. So like leverage whatever power that you have. So that's a very interesting conversation. I'm curious to see how things shake out for you should you choose
Mhm.
it. I think as long as it's somebody that you look up to and there's learning lessons to be had regardless of
Mhm.
gender, then go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I do need to figure out like my goal and intent with it,
Mhm.
with who I am seeking out and why, and I don't know
Mhm.
that yet. So I'm like
Yeah.
word vomiting I'm brainstorming as we talk. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And also too like some it's like about accessibility too. Some women
Hmm.
um just if they're like they don't have other women in their circle, it's and they have men, like you can learn just enough from men.
Hmm.
It's just about if you understand the difference in their experience versus your own. But
100%. So TBD on that. We will see how that all shakes out. I've got a whole lot of thoughts spinning in my brain now about bringing masculine energy to the corporate world. Yay.
that sounds like when we ask somebody for their rapid fire question, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Yeah, now you know what my answer is to that question.
Oh, the male feminine energy, blah blah
um,
blah. Well, I think that we have hit our thresholds,
we
and
have
I
indeed
am
3
excited to get
hours.
into Taylor's episode because Taylor, seriously, when we were like meeting with her, I was like, we could have just talked. We could
Oh,
have just
easily.
talked the entire time, but she genuinely has some really wonderful learning lessons in her experience that I think are a situation that a lot of us will get into at some point. So, before we jump into it, Alan, any parting thoughts?
Hmm. There's a lot going on in the world recently, like
Mm-hmm.
today, in previous weeks. So take a minute to yourself, go for a walk, do some self care, like relaxing potentially a little bit. I think that is some advice that I'm going to take for myself. And maybe I'm going to go bake something today. Do something with my hands, make me happy. So take
Mm,
some personal time. That's my parting thought.
I love it. I love it. That is a great way to end. Well, we'll see you in Taylor's episode. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Today we are joined with Taylie Clark. We are so excited to chat with Taylie because we met her for probably 15 minutes and honestly felt like we were such great friends. So, the background of how we know Taylie is we were literally about to walk out the door, Female Founder World, back in October. We were all standing by this gorgeous window trying to snap, the photo.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylie and another gal were standing and they were talking, and Elle and I were like, "Oh, will you take our photo?" And in true female fashion, we became friends, and got to
We're like,
talking.
do we just become best friends?
I know, honestly, that's how it felt. So we were able to connect with Taylie, and then she told us a little bit about her story, and it was honestly perfect for the podcast. So we are so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Guys, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, please. It is our pleasure. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off. When you
Mm-hmm.
were growing up, Taylie, what did you want to be?
This answer is so easy for me. I wanted to be Hillary Duff. I wanted to be a Disney Channel star. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to sing and dance and have all the beautiful clothes.
Shut up. Not only is that
I
a
feel,
first, but that is probably the best answer I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
I have to say.
I felt like this is the safest place to share that. So
That is incredible. It was it just like you saw her on Disney Channel and all those things, and you were like, I want to be her when I grow up.
it was just like a perfect storm of like what like fourth grade, fifth grade, and figuring out like, oh, she like does that, and like getting access to Disney Channel was like I just like was obsessed with the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, well, if she can be that good, then I can be that good, and this is where the recovering perfectionist is going to come in, but like, um, yeah, I just was enamored with her. I have a funny Hillary Duff story. Never met her, but it's a side Hillary Duff story. My mom, she knew I was so obsessed with Hillary Duff that for one of my birthdays, she like printed out a little Hillary Duff picture, put it on cardboard, stuck it in my cake, and it had a little speech bubble that said "Happy Birthday, Taylee." And when she presented it to me, I was like, did she say that? Like, I thought Hillary Duff said happy birthday to me. So yeah, the love was very deep, and I just really wanted to be her.
Honestly, can't blame you. She was like one of the girls, like while everybody was off, oohing and awing at like Britney Spears. Maybe that was before
Yeah,
our time a little bit.
yeah.
Hillary Duff, Metamorphosis. Come on. The Lizzie McGuire
Changed my
movie.
life. Changed my
It,
life.
yeah.
Metamorphosis.
Child star in the making. Okay, well, I can probably sense that there's some theme of like entertainment, or like you like to like fill a room, but not
Yeah.
all people can be superstars. So tell us how you kind of chose a path. Maybe that was in college where you chose your major. Like what was that early sense of focus?
Yeah, I always knew the creative side was going to be a part of something, but I also grew up knowing that like, I want to find a career that's, going to, make me money. I want to be financially secure. Like that was always a big goal of mine. And so in high school, math wasn't very creative to me. Science wasn't. English, I never really fell in love with. But once I was in high school, I had a marketing teacher and Miss Lidstrom, who taught all of the marketing classes and got me involved in DECA. And are you guys familiar with DECA? Some people
I've heard of
aren't,
it.
some people are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's this really cool business competition thing that high school kids do. So this is like the first time in my life where I was like competing for something. So essentially what DECA does is it's like every high school will have a chapter and you compete like regionally and then at the state level and the international level of like business cases, like solving business cases. So it was my first exposure to like this business is having a problem and like how would you solve it? And it's just to get like it's to feed like entrepreneurial and marketing type themes and stuff. So like I picked like restaurants randomly as my like category, and it kind of combined my love of improv. So I was like, oh, I have 20 minutes to read the sheet of paper and then walk into a judge and like present my business plan. And I like loved it right away. So from there, I stuck with marketing and um, just kind of shut the doors out to anything else and knew I wanted to do that. And I followed that into college.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm like, I feel kind of like a dork. Like I did not know what
Mm-hmm.
this program was, but how cool that, it starts, especially in high school, like starting to get that business mind and those kind of gears going of,
Yeah.
this is something that you could do and have a career in the future. Like, do you enjoy this? Is this a path that you would potentially want to go down? So that's really interesting. How old were you when you did this?
Okay, so I think like either sophomore or junior year, so like 15, 16. And I'll caveat this that like my little spiel I just gave sounds like, oh, she knew what she wanted to do right away. That was not the truth. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna roll with this DECA thing and like, oh, that was fun. So like it's in the reflection. I'm like, oh, it was because it was improv and creative and thinking on your feet. And
Mm-hmm.
I've since had, a big sales career and like all that stuff just kind of came together. I was like kind of combining like how do you be Hillary Duff and make money without, child star stuff. And I was like, all right, it's marketing and sales, but I never wanted to be in sales. So it's in reflection that that all came together. But I think a lot of people are like, I have no idea how I got here. And that's me. So
Well,
Mm-hmm.
laying the foundation, right? You're starting to see things that interest you and continue down the path until you pivot to something that you like more than what you were currently doing. So, talk to
totally.
us on your journey through college, what you decided your major was going to be. Did you falter at all? What was that experience like?
I was a rule follower. So once I picked marketing, I wasn't going to change it.
Love that. Yeah.
So I got really lucky. I got into a good business school. I went to IU, and so I was in the Kelley School of Business, and a really great program. And my junior year in college, I found, or they were starting a second like co-major with marketing called professional sales. And I think there are probably some other universities that have like a sales curriculum, but usually you'd graduate and there are tons of sales jobs already like available to young
Mhm.
college kids, but this was like a B2B marketing slash like B2B sales kind of curriculum, and I was so fascinated by it. I had another amazing professor, Josh Gildy, and I loved his classes. Like his sales management class has stuck with me, and his B2B marketing class has stuck with me. And by the time I was hitting my major classes in marketing, I was like, I don't know if I like want to be a marketer. Like I always chose it because it was like the creative part of all the business options, but I don't think I want to be a marketer. And I was also telling myself like, well, you also can't do sales because that's scary, and you're gonna have to be pushy, and you're gonna have to like force people to buy things they don't want to buy, and like you can't do that. You have to be authentic. And so I was graduating with no idea what I wanted to do and very lost. And like I also was like beating myself up a little bit of like, people take internships their junior year of college, get the job for senior year. I'd had a couple of odd summer jobs, like my first job um, after my freshman year of college was doing. I was an assistant innkeeper at a bed and breakfast in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. Is beautiful, but I was like, I'm gonna do just something different and weird. And then I had like formal sales internships like my sophomore and junior summers, but I knew I didn't like. I had a great experience, but I knew I didn't want to go back and do that. Kind of informed the like, oh, I can't be in sales thing. Um, so when I was getting ready to graduate, I like had no idea what I wanted to do.
Ooh, let's normalize having like one internship in college and then spending
Seriously.
spending those summers doing what we like to call portfolio career builders, where it's, yeah, like
Yes.
going and working in a different city or in a different state, in an industry or in a role that you're like, this has nothing to do with what I envision myself doing. Like at 19, you're not supposed to be sitting at a desk, even though that's what most of us do because that's what we're
Yes.
supposed to told to do.
No.
But like you probably gained so many skills by going and having these what you would consider like odd jobs, but if anything, very much contributed to this growth mindset. Um,
Hmm.
Also interesting to know that you kind of like told yourself before you maybe even tried, and maybe I'm making assumptions, but like on the sales things, because I think that's a common theme, especially in a lot of those jobs where it's like there's a lot of pressure. It's like, oh, I'm not cut out for this. Like it takes a very specific person to accomplish this role, and how much like
Hmm.
self talk you have before you even try it.
Yeah.
That's
Sarah,
an
you have Coma City say hit the nail on the head. Like literally exactly that. Yeah. Yeah, and I found that to be a pattern. Like the thing
mm-hmm.
I'm most scared of is what I'm really supposed to be doing, which
Mm.
isn't that such a great tagline? You can use it. No. I'm like I'm annoyed with myself when I think about it, but yeah, uh, that ended up being exactly what happened. And like I actually fell in love with sales. I got a rotation. I got a job in a sales rotation program, and like ironically accepted it because I was like, well, I'm gonna do this rotation program. They're gonna make me a sales rep at the end, but like I'm not actually gonna do that. Like I don't want to do that. Um, but I was really the company I worked for. I went there because the the people were so smart and so driven, and I was like, okay, I relate to that. And like I want
Mhm.
to do something interesting. The mission of the company was very different and unique to like some of my friends that were graduating and working a standard corporate job that almost every kid was going to. And I was like, okay, this is like a different thing. Let me go try this out. And through the rotation program, I like learned, oh, I think I actually could do this. I was still super, super scared, but you know, I was surrounded by really smart people. And I was like, I just want to be around that. Like, that's what I want, you know?
It's such an interesting point, and it's interesting to hear what people's priorities are when they're trying to find a job. Like, I'm sure it
Hmm.
shifts, as you go throughout your career. And outside of school, most of like your first job out of college, most of the time it's just to get one, right? Like,
Yep.
you're not
Mhm.
necessarily being super picky. You are just like firing your resume away and hoping someone calls you back and offers you something. And I liked the examples that you gave because if anyone out there works a job that loves every single aspect about it, call me and I want to interview you. But it's simple. I mean, it's just I don't I think it's a foul. It
Yeah.
doesn't exist. And
Hmm.
it's so interesting hearing that like, one of the main reasons why you liked it so much was the people that you surround yourself with that were there and you wanted to learn from, right? Like what a fabulous reason to say in a job. And I think Sarah and I talk a lot about, the pillars that keep you at a job, and people is one of the three that we talk about. So did you find a mentor? Was there someone that like really helped you along in your journey? Did you kind of pivot around to people? Talk to us about like that aspect and what you liked most about the people.
Yeah, I think I was just a sponge. And I mean, my like, I was in the office and working in an office every day on a sales floor, and I had a really great manager that, like, I will say was Matt Gaspon. He was like very influential in helping me like take my little college brain into like, okay, this is the corporate world, and like you're in this program because we want you to like, find gaps and like help us see things that we're not seeing, and eventually you're going to train to do this. So, but like also, like, you don't get to run the place, like, like he was like very good at balancing, like, you have opportunity, but like you should learn some shit too. And so um like I think just like he's one of those people that a lot of people I was around, like, I just saw how hard they worked, and I wanted to learn just as much as I could. I think like anybody who's starting a career, you're not going to know what you're doing. And like, I found that, my strengths were, spending time and listening and asking questions, and just having like a genuine curiosity, like prepared me for, for my sales career, which like that's half of the job. And also open up a lot of opportunities, a lot of doors to like be really successful in that role too.
Mm. What were some of the early successes that you had? Because you graduated school, you go into this job, and you're kind of like not dragging your feet, but you're kind of like, maybe this isn't it.
Yeah.
And you meet these incredible people, have great mentors, see their success. What was the first moment for you that was like, oh, okay, this might stick?
Oh, well, I don't keep track of my successes. Okay.
You should.
Working on it. Okay, what comes to mind, honestly? One of my rotations was getting field experience with our customers. And so I think they planned this rotation in like 24 hours, because I got a call and they were like, "Hey, we're developing this product. We need you to go out and, for like really, really small accounts, like we need you to go and like talk to them about their current program. So like set up meetings and travel and do that." And I was like, "Huh? Like I don't know how to book a flight. Like I don't know anything." Like uh, but it was my first exposure of, one, the flexibility of being on the road, which I loved. I was like, okay, get me out of this office. That's incredible. And then getting in front of customers and like building a relationship with them and hearing their story. And a lot of you know, these customers that I went out to, like they never got a person in person before. So like that was really unique and fun. And I would probably call that my first like success, or kind of like the little twinkle of like, oh, like if if I continue on this path and go into sales and do this, like there is like the flexibility afforded, and flexibility is a huge value of mine. So I think it was like those little things kind of clicking together, I think.
Yeah, that
The
is such
stars
a
are
good
starting to
experience.
align. You're
Mhm.
starting
Hmm.
to kind of hit your groove. You're getting more comfortable. How long were you
Yeah.
in that first job out of college for?
So I was there the first 6 and almost 7 years of my career, until
Wow.
I hit my sabbatical. So yeah, I've only ever worked there too, which, like, blessing and a
Ooh.
curse. I say, like, I grew
Mhm.
up there. Like I grew up and learned a ton of amazing things. And then I also needed to leave because I'm like, I need to be my own person outside of this too.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I didn't know you were there your entire career. I thought you had one more blip. So that is so fascinating.
I
You,
did have two roles there that are like
okay.
polar opposite. So yeah, it's an interesting split. What's that word?
Join the club. I do that all the time. And I'm like, I sound like a dumbass. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, you said you grew up there. Talk to us about what does that mean? Like personally, professionally, like what was your growth like?
Um, okay. I think like the first part of growth is the professional part. And it's like I the company I was at was it was a startup culture and like a rapidly growing business. Like they were 700 employees when I started, almost 4,000 when I left. So like grew really rapidly. And so like growing up there, like it was like if I had an idea, I could bring it to somebody and they would probably listen to me. Or if like there's a different way I want to do something, there's a lot of flexibility. And I think that kind of has, I didn't know at the time that that was like an entrepreneurial part of like me, because like other people around me weren't really doing that. And they were usually following my lead on some ideas. And I was like, oh, well, like this is just what you do. You just like make a suggestion and then they'll take it and we'll roll with it. So like amazing experience. I learned from really smart, brilliant people on how to be a very effective account manager. I was on the road 80% of the time. Like I didn't know life different than that. I loved it. And then I, burnt out on it. And like I gained such a valuable skill set of like managing relationships internally, cross functionally with my customers, getting the deals done, like all that kind of stuff. Like I don't think college Tay would have heard me say that sentence and been like, oh yeah, you're totally going to do that. But you just kind of like surprise yourself with all you learn. But the other side of that coin is kind of like where like boundaries come in. Where like growing up in a company where, the culture and the pace is like very fast. It's very, I would say like, there are a lot of like unwritten rules of like what's expected. I will say that I had really incredible managers where like I still kind of got like the shiny roses of it all. But I think, you know, you hit 27 and you haven't you switch roles and you have um, you know, exposure to like, oh, wait, like I don't really have control over my schedule. I don't have control over what I want to be doing. And it's really hard to change that when you've grown up in a company and you're expected to be the person who's like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I like this. I'll do this. So kind of both sides of that coin. And so that was like the interesting part of
Mhm.
growing up in a culture there. So
Mm-hmm. Was there any point, because it sounds like you showed up like with full intent, you were going to make every day really worthwhile, you were going to make incredible impact. Was
mhm.
there ever any day where you're just like, "Oh man, I'm kind of tired." Like, and I just want to show up and I wish I could just click clack on a spreadsheet and just go home. Because we're kind of getting to this idea, and we've talked about it a little bit when we originally met,
Mhm.
but like the burnout, right? And I imagine
Yeah.
with a situation where you're working with a smaller company where there's expectations but they're kind of unspoken, you're in
Mhm.
a sales role where there's numbers that you're trying to hit, like there is this burnout kind of waiting for you on the other side. Like, did you ever just want to like put the brakes on and kind of like step aside, or was it just like pedal to the metal until the day that you're like, this is not it?
It was okay, fabulous question. It was pedal to the metal until like everything imploded.
Mhm.
But looking back on it, there were definitely times where my gut was like, this is a lot.
Mm.
And I wasn't listening to it. And I had no idea how to listen to it, which is like, I think something a lot of young professionals, I think especially women, we know how to get to the right answer. We know how to find the right answer. We know how to get the job done well. We are overthinking it all the time and we just expect that to be normal. And it's not, because I mean, you honestly start doing more than your share, but in a way that's detrimental to you even though it's benefiting everybody else. And I hit a total bottom out, burnout, crash, took FMLA for 3 months and absolutely needed it. And my biggest thing I would tell myself is like go into therapy sooner, go talk to people sooner and learn that like you don't have to be everything to everybody all the time, because that's when like I mean at work, and then it was also my personal life, like none of it all just absolutely crashed. And like burnout is so real, and I thought I was above it. I was like, no, I'm perfect. I can work really hard, like how far I've gotten. And then it was too late. So
It came knocking on your door when you least expected it, I'm sure.
yeah.
Isn't it?
like so disappointing when you see others. You're like, "Ooh, they work too much. Ooh, I can tell they're burnt out. Oh, I don't want to be like them." And then like one day you open your eyes and you're like, "I am that person. I am now burnt out. I'm so overwork. Like I can't do this anymore." To the
Hmm.
point where you had to take 3 months off of work. Like that is insane.
Yeah. And for me, it was also like my brain telling me like, "Oh, you're a failure because you couldn't
Mm.
figure it out." And to anybody listening, that is not true. That means that you're a human. And I had to learn that like a really, really hard way. Like, come on, Tay, but like it was it was, necessary. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's a difficult conclusion, but honestly, such a reality for
Hmm.
so many people now. And I kind of want to get like really specific if you don't mind. Like
Yeah.
how did burnout present itself to you? Because it varies for everybody, and I think sometimes, especially like if I'm experiencing like, oh, it's a season, it'll get better. And it's kind of just like this toxic relationship sometimes where you're like, oh God, I've been saying that for like 90 days now. Like, like things aren't gonna get better, Sarah. Like you have to change. Like what did burnout look like to you?
Okay. Burnout to me was a calendar full of stuff that I didn't care about and like just overfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was I was like insatiable with getting work done perfectly and getting it done right. And I was also saying yes to everything that came my way. So like a little bit of context, my last role at my last company, I created for myself. And it was in sales operations because I know that I had felt mastery in my sales role. So I had done it for, 4 years, wanted to stay at the company because again, the people and like the excitement and all that stuff, I wanted to stay. Um, and so I was like, well, I need to pivot and do something else because like I'm not having fun with this anymore. So I created a role to fix internal problems. This is where it gets interesting. And so I came in and I was, I defined a role as like I see communication gaps. I'd like to fix them. I created like some really awesome things that worked really well, but I also didn't know how to set boundaries and never had a mentor to help me like defining a role. Like all of that was brand new. And so when you take somebody who says yes to everything and says, I'd like to fix all the problems, you get everybody's problems and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's problem is a priority. And so it was 18 months of like, this is fun, this is fun, this is fun, this is exciting, this is too much. I have nothing, I have no say, can't do anything, everything's molasses. And I mean, you also just see how an internal corporate structure works, and some of that's really disappointing too. And like you can't you can't change any of that. So what was the original question? I got lost in my own answer.
The original, I think this is all great. Your original question was like, how did burnout present itself to you, or like what did it
Oh
look
yeah.
like for you?
Oh right, I was giving you context and I went way too long. Okay, so context was so I created this role and created a huge mess for myself. And so the burnout was, you know, feeling like I can't get anything done,
Mm-hmm.
and I am only doing things for other people and I don't have any charge of like or say of like what I'm working on, and being pulled in a million different directions. And I know like one thing I'm working on for whatever my next phase is like I don't want to use those generic terms of like I was being pulled in so many directions, but like I had sales managers demanding like training, and I had, sales reps saying like this customer needs this, can you help me with it? Like, and I had internal, teams saying, hey, sales is not understanding this process that you helped us outline. Like, what is it working on? So like all of the problems were coming to me. So I want to get better at being specific about that because I think that's what's helpful for people. And so burnout was just like getting to like the literal point of like exhaustion. I was like, I can't do anything. And so I was supposed to write up an email summary to a director of something. And I was like, I'm better than this. What is happening? And I like closed my laptop, sobbed, panic attack, like called my dad and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And my dad was like, you need to not do anything and stay where you're at, and work is work. And I was like, no, you don't understand. It's this and this and this. And he's like, no, literally stop. So, um, yeah, it came crashing. She's
I'm
the light.
thank you for sharing. I know that's difficult, and that's like obviously a touchy subject because then it starts to get into like the real of life
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
and how it presents itself outside of work. So thank you for
yeah.
sharing.
Of course. And like I'm glad to share. And like that's why I wanted to talk to you guys too, because I don't know what my next move is, but like I don't want anybody to have to go through what I did. Like it really blew. And like I was a successful, I did everything right, and I thought I had everybody's support behind me, and I had to kind of fend for myself, and putting myself first was something I'd never done. Like I thought I had, but like, I really needed to rewire some things, and yeah, so
The
the more
biggest
you
thing.
know.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like the thing that you needed to do, pretty much taking the words out of your mouth. The uncomfy thing that you needed to do was step away. The hardest thing, you know?
Shut up. No, you just gave me chills. You just put all that together. Wait, no, literally.
Oh my gosh. Ellen, I know that you had a question, but I just had a thought because I think that there's some similarities that I wonder if there's a common theme with women. Like you said, it's like natural to be a caretaker, and oftentimes it presents itself as like a teacher or a nurse. But in the world of being business, it's like, oh, I saw this problem with the way this system's organized, or this process doesn't work, so then we go and get our little hands and try to like fix and problem solve, and then we burn out. Common
Yeah,
theme, maybe, could be, potentially. Yes, but
I see
uh
it. Yeah, it's like I can't believe they didn't think about doing it this way, and like just like doing it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's so female in so
Mm,
many ways. Like I have a
yeah.
fiance. They don't think that way.
Yeah, let me clean. And in this case it was cleaning business.
Yeah.
Okay, Ellen, you had a question.
Well, I love that like the conversation just went this way because that's exactly where my mind was going. Like it's such a female like experience in the workplace to show up, give it your all, try to be the like squeaky wheel and identify things that could get better and raise your hand and want to be the best and sign yourself up for all these opportunities. And unfortunately, the way that it's set up in the corporate world is the person who offers up their time and does things well and does them quickly is offered with more work. And that's the
Mhm.
reward that they get
Mhm.
versus a promotion or and more money, higher title, etc. And it's so annoying that that is
Yeah,
the way the
the
world works
It's
cycle.
sometimes.
so annoying.
And it's when you come to that realization, oof, it feels like the rug is being pulled out from underneath you. I'm sure
Yeah.
that's probably a portion of what you experienced during that burnout period of just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I had so much success and found success in my career by doing this. And I've reached the point, the peak where that's no longer making me successful. Like now what do I do?
Wait, literally. No, literally exactly that's it. And like I will say, like Ellen, to your point, I found it really comforting that a lot of the accounts I follow on like Instagram, like some are female led, but some are like Wall Street Journal and stuff. Like they're talking about that. Like they're talking
Right.
about, the worker who puts their hand up. Like I feel like, 2 years ago, that wasn't something I would readily see on my feed. But I think like the
Mhm.
theme of burnout it is coming up so much, and it's so nice to see more people talking about it.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
it's also hard to be like, I would never have that.
Yeah,
Again, you're like,
exactly.
sucks for that person, but I could
I
never.
can't believe they burned out.
I
Ew.
know, I know. Well, and too, like to kind of tie to the beginning, like as much as we were raised by like Lizzie McGuire and all these people, I feel like are just past or like on the cusp of the generation of the like girl boss, right? And so
Yeah,
we looked up to all of these women, which like it's incredible, right? They like paved the path, but then we all kind of came slamming into this reality of like, wait, we're doing way too much. We are overly exerting ourselves in every facet of our life.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Every facet. Yeah, it's not just work, but it's like our relationships and our friendships and all, yeah, everything in life. Definitely.
So then, oh, go ahead, Ellen.
I think we had asked the same
We're
question.
both
Um, but during your 3-month period where you took off of work,
Mhm.
what happened? Where was your head at? What made you decide to go back to work? What was the end goal? Like what went on during that time?
Okay, so during that time, I actually stopped thinking about work. And it was mainly because my friends and family who were very concerned about me and my new therapist, who I love, who will remain unnamed because that's just how therapists work, and it's so annoying because she's awesome. They were like, don't think about work, don't talk about work, don't do anything. And I was seeing a therapist twice a week because I really needed help. And a lot of our conversations were me just like, verbally like babbling all the things that I've, felt about work for a long time. And honestly, as we got towards like the end of the 3 months, I was like, oh, I can like hang out with my friends. I've got my energy because my energy was so depleted. And then I was still having conversations with my therapist about like, well, I should still go back because X, Y, and Z are opportunities. And like looking back, I was just really having a hard time accepting the fact that like that I wasn't the problem and that I I think that like those 3 months were time away from work, but I was still, I think, in the back of my mind, worried about what's my perception, like
Mhm.
how am I going to go back to work, how and I had a lot of people. I have a ton of really close people still from that company that are invited to my wedding, and like I'm very close to all these people that were very supportive, and I knew they wouldn't mind that I needed this time off, but like the battle was really me talking to myself and like how I perceived myself. And so when I went back to work, because with FMLA, you have 3 months up to, every year you can have up to 3 months of unpaid leave from your company. And my 3 months were up, so I had to go back to work because I wasn't going to quit. And I went back and like spent, I think, a couple of weeks there and just knew that like this doesn't fit with me anymore. Like something like seismic has very much changed, and it's me. It's like what I need to do and to leave. And so I ended up putting my 2 weeks in a couple weeks later, and working with my therapist and my family and my friends, like accepting that I don't need to make this, you know, this role like perfect. It doesn't have to be this, it's not a failure. Like this, like the best decision for me is to leave. And the hardest thing was to leave. And so, yeah, left.
Mm. Yeah, honestly, claps. I have one hand.
Thanks,
And
guys.
I can just like probably I can like feel the weight
Mm-hmm.
that was lifted off because I imagine in those
Yeah,
3 months, like as much as you were probably trying to enjoy having 3 months off, you knew that you were still going back. Like it wasn't like, okay, this is it, slate is clean. It was just like a pause. And so there
hmm
was work to be done. And then you had to go back. And then it was just like, yeah, no, this doesn't align. So big of you to make that decision because it could have been really easy for you to fall back into that pattern and like let nature repeat itself and not grow. And again, like the uncomfy thing that you needed to do was release yourself. And especially knowing that you spent 7 years, like you said, growing up, you have an emotional connection to it. I imagine, like I get the sense
very
that you were
much.
very connected to it. You were connected to the product, you were connected to the people, and especially in sales roles, like there's so many other people that you're working with because you're not just like internal, you're working with external clients. And
Right.
so it's probably a very big shift. Talk to us about what it was like to like leave the campus, leave the building, and like be free. Like, what were those next few weeks like for you? Did you like come out singing and
Liberating.
dancing? Did you cry? Like what?
It's like a little bird
um,
leaving the nest
Yeah,
finally.
truly.
I
Yay.
I like okay, like leading up to like my decision of putting in my 2 weeks, I'm I took videos of myself. It was like, all right, this is like 10 days before I put in my 2 weeks,
I love it.
3 days before I put in my 2 weeks. And I don't know what to do with those videos, but they are just for me, I think. And like, the like I remember getting off the call with my manager and just crying, like the happiest tears. I'm like, you know what? Like this is like, I mean, honestly, just like physical validation of like happy
Mhm.
tears of like this is exactly what you needed to
Yeah.
do. And my last 2 weeks, I mean, I floated. I was like, I'm out of here. Like I was like, honestly, it was like senior year of high school where I was just like saying
Ooh.
bye to all my friends and like, tying up a couple of projects here and there, but like, the time has come and, had an exit interview with our head of HR. Like I requested that specifically because I was like, hey, like, this company means a lot to me and like this is like I told her the same thing. I was like, I grew up here and like I'm leaving for personal reasons and um you know all ended on good terms. And then I was like, okay, so now what do I do?
I love that you requested an exit interview. That is
Mhm.
so epic to just be like, well, one, like selfishly, it's closure for you, but also
Yeah.
like,
Oh, it
how
was it was led it
ideally
was led selfishly. I was like, I need some closure here.
good for you. But I'm sure too, like, ideally they would have heard you and potentially made some sort of change and it had a positive impact in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I also forced a previous employer to have a
Oh,
not
really?
forced, but I
But
was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
"Hey, so can we chat before I leave? Like, I'd like to give you my thoughts." He probably
Yeah.
didn't really appreciate that, but I was like, "I'm doing it whether you like it or not." So
Yeah.
I sympathize there. I like that.
No, I like that. And like also like, the exit interview is also about like, hey, I'm seeing X, Y, and Z. So
Yeah.
like I think this should change. I think this should change. It's
Mhm.
not my job.
Mhm.
Like I'm out. But
Mhm.
I think and if you leave that with somebody you trust and hope can do
Yeah.
something,
Mhm.
great. But also bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about like what are you doing? What are you up to now? Because when we talked in October, you had mentioned that you were on this journey and
Mhm.
take us up
Yeah.
to speed with how things have, kind of shaken out the last few months.
Yeah. So I've been on what I call a full sabbatical ever since I left. And so I I have not been working. I have been honestly living my life. Like honestly turning into 2025 and looking back on just like 2024 because I left like mid-October of 2023. And so it's been a little, it's a good chunk over a year now. And I've, as a recovering perfectionist, have been like in the back of my mind this whole time, I've been like, okay, well, like I'm going to get a job. Okay, like I'm going to work. But like my life was still being lived, and I also just had like a lot of, you know, like healing to do. So like I
Mhm.
spent a ton of time with my friends, a ton of time with my family, getting back to things that I love, like uh can't think of them now, but I've done a lot of them. It's been
Fair,
really
fair.
fun.
Oh my god.
It's like, what are your hobbies? I don't know. Oh, wait, when I started drum lessons, started playing the
Cool.
drums. That's
That
one
is
thing
Cool.
I've been up
cool.
to. That is a
That's a
thing I've been up
cool
to.
girl. That yeah.
Really cool. I love when people just like, I don't know, they'll do like a dance lesson or something that's not like
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
typical hobby of like, oh, I picked up reading. Like, great. So you and the rest of the world. That is so cool and unique. I love that.
Thank you. I was like done just playing on my steering wheel and tapping along to like songs and music. So like I started taking drum lessons. I'm still
Okay,
in them.
Lizzie
I've had a couple.
McGuire.
Okay, no, literally
Oh
stop.
my God. It's coming full circle.
That's gonna go straight to my head. But
Oh
yeah, I
god.
like I love playing the drums. I was telling Ellen a little earlier, like I had one of my best friends had her baby this morning, so it's been a big day. Her
Hmm.
first baby, and this is baby number 5 for me. Like all of my friends have had
Oh,
babies this year.
I thought you
Yeah.
meant for
Wow.
her. And I was like, dang,
Yeah.
sister.
She could pull it off for sure. But yeah, like I've been in like aunt mode and like looking back on 2024, I'm like I really just lived. Like I traveled, I had friends getting married, friends having babies. I got engaged, I'm planning a wedding, like I'm a full-time bride right now and I'm giving myself officially like permission to just do that. I have done some recruiting. I guess like I've done the job search. Like I've fixed my resume, fixed my LinkedIn. I've applied to like 200 or so online, whatever, like through LinkedIn or through the company or through job boards. And, never heard back from those. The only people I've heard back from are like LinkedIn messages or some networking people. Had a couple of interviews, got to final rounds a couple places, and either, I wasn't picked because I wasn't the right fit, or, I saw red flags and I was like, oh, I don't want to sign up and rinse and repeat what I just like solved and fixed for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, those feelings of like, oh, like I don't have a job and I should feel defeated. Like they come up for sure, but I'm also like, in a place in my life where like I don't need a job to be my priority. And I like, I am just kind of waiting for the next thing, I think. So,
Mm-hmm.
because I honestly don't know what I want to do. I don't
Who
know.
does?
Join the club.
Validation, yes, thank you.
Yes, 100%. Oh my God.
Yeah,
And I feel you with the whole job search thing. It is like, I have never had lower confidence in my life and lower self-esteem in my life during my job search.
it's
I mean, it
hard
was,
not to feel that way. It really
oh,
is.
humbling,
Yeah,
is scratching the surface of what that experience was like. So
yeah,
good for you for having the, like, again, the foresight to be like, I want to be strategic about this. I need to like focus on other things. This right now is not a priority in my life, and that is okay. And
yeah,
I know when I can go back and revisit it, and I will be ready at this time, you know?
totally.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
My little sprinkle of wisdom for the day,
What
hopefully.
Ellen said, yeah.
Oh God, now you with the Hillary Duff, me with that. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh. Exactly. Well, I want to know, I'm going to ask you the big question. Taylie, how do you define success for yourself?
I define success as, I don't know, doing what makes you happy. Like, I, yeah, because I'm in the process of rewiring my brain from like hitting quota or launching a product as success. Like I'm really, really proud of those. Like I'm, you know, as Leslie Knope would say, like I'm big enough to admit that I'm, impressed with myself or whatever it is. But like I think success and like this new lens I have on life is like, are you doing what your gut says you should be doing? If it's happy, cool, then you're happy. And if it's not, then let's pivot and get out of that. So,
I love it. Sometimes it's like such a difficult answer or question,
yeah.
but sometimes the answer is the easiest. Like, do what makes you happy, gives you the feels and the good ones, not the
Yes.
bad ones.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. We're gonna hop into the rapid fire questions.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
what is one thing that you have to make it through the workday?
Make it through the workday. So I'm retired right now. I don't know what that is, but what it was coffee, which I'm sure you get that answer a lot. But like my friend Kirsten and I, when we worked together, like I had to have my 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and then I hit an afternoon lull. And she's like, we'd have a meeting. She's like, Taylie, are you okay? Like, hello. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, you need your 2 p.m. coffee. I'm like, yeah, I definitely do. So
Ritual.
I would
Mhm.
I would say coffee for sure. And probably like a notepad. I'm a sticky note person. So like anytime something comes to my head, I'm like sticky note, and like everything was covered in sticky notes. So sticky notes and coffee.
Ooh. Okay,
Amazing.
Sarah, merch idea, sticky notes.
Truly. Yeah, good
Seriously.
idea.
I want them.
And matching pens.
Yeah, and magic pens. Oh my God, so cute. That'll make me so excited to like take notes or make a list, which I've made thousands already
Customer number
today. So
one sold.
Oh yeah.
so
Okay.
perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Look,
Fine.
we don't need to do any more market research.
Outreach.
That's
Yeah.
completed. Check. What is your favorite way to unwind after a long day of work?
Okay. Calling my friends. It used to be like doom scroll on Instagram. That's another sign of major burnout, I would say. But like calling my friends, like FaceTiming, and even if it's like, I don't know, 2 minutes, you got your people, they fill up your cup, like why not just call them at the end of the day? So
It's
Pair
a
of
warm
FaceTime.
fuzzy. I
Yeah.
like that.
Pair of FaceTime or a call with a walk, and that's just like a perfect
oh
recipe.
yeah, especially when you feel like way too tired and you're so zonked, like it'll just like bring you right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes
hmm
you just need a little giggle. Okay, let's see. What is one of your favorite benefits that you had?
Benefits, unlimited PTO. I
Mm,
loved my unlimited PTO. It's a blessing and a curse, and I
yeah.
know there are arguments for and against. And I would probably say like I don't want to have unlimited PTO because I never took as much PTO as I should have. But I mean, they really get you where they're like, whenever you want, just like take your time off. We're not tracking.
We're not tracking. God, it's like such a mind fuck, I swear.
It really is.
No, it is like the biggest mindfuck of the 21st century. Yeah.
Mhm.
We have unlimited PTO, but we don't trust you. You're not adults. So
We're still being monitored. Still got hall monitors up in here.
yeah.
Yeah, we're checking your team status while you're on that unlimited vacation. So
Oh, I'm
enjoy.
sorry. Is this rubbing your mouse? Are you
Yeah.
keeping that green line on? Okay.
Oh my God.
What a weird world we live in.
Seriously, like we're laughing, but this is the reality. Like, how
No,
bizarre.
smile through the pain, ladies. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Jesus. What's my? Oh God, you can tell we have not done these questions for a minute.
Pet peeve.
I was gonna say don't say it. I was gonna try and reach
Sorry.
in my brain to try and remember. Oh my God. What
I
is
thought you were, Sarah, I thought you were telling her that was your pet peeve that
Oh.
she couldn't remember.
Just truly calling her out online.
I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, we're that comfortable over here.
No, I love it. I love
Instant feedback over here.
it.
What is your biggest corporate pet peeve?
Okay, a corporate pet peeve. Okay, when they ask for feedback, but they don't listen.
Mm.
Ooh,
Mhm.
that's a sticky one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one-sided door. Yep.
Oh, yeah. One-sided door. 'Cause
Sarah,
I'm
you
like,
and the Saints today.
I don't
Well,
operate that way. I'm like, I take
Yeah.
feedback and I want to do something about it. And then when I found people were asking for feedback and not doing anything, I was like, huh? What is this? Am I stupid? And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll get in line. All right.
Jeez. Well, I feel like we probably could have talked forever. There's probably so many lessons that you've learned and inspirational everythings that you could probably share with our audience. So maybe we'll have you back for just a quick 10 minutes with Taylie or something like that. I don't know.
check
You know,
in.
10 minutes with
Oh,
Taylie. I
I've
like
had
that.
so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad we met in New York. Like, how
my
random
gosh.
is this?
I know.
And your picture I took of you came out so great.
Okay,
It's
that's
so
your
like
calling.
so cute and serendipitous too, because it's always like
I
it's
know.
so awkward when you're like, oh, I have to go ask someone to take our picture. Like no, and then you can always tell like, oh, I want them to take my photo. I know what the product is going to be. Not to like
That's an
totally
honor.
stereotype, but I was like, I see the photos situation happening over here, and I'd like to be a part of that. And now here we are.
Yeah, Erin, shout out Erin. She's my new friend, my first friend that I met there because we both went to Female Founders World together, or we
Separate.
both went
Mhm.
individually and on our own, and we met each other in the coffee line, and then we met you guys. It was so great.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
cool. I love
That gives
that.
me, that gives me a little warm fuzzies because it makes me think about like all the people that you have yet to meet with just these casual run-ins.
Right?
And if anything, it encourages hopefully you to continue to talk to strangers. Who knows where
100%.
things will turn out. But thank you
love
so
it.
much for joining us, Taylie. It's been honestly so nice to hear from you and your experience. And I cannot wait to see. I'm gonna follow you on socials to see your wedding. Enjoy
Oh my God, thank
enjoy
you.
the last few months of this and experience. It is a blast.
Thank you.
But thank you again for listening, everybody. And literally at the end of the day, just remember it's a job. That was not right.
That's I was like, well, okay, we're
Holy
working today.
word vomit. That was just like saying all the right words in the wrong order.
It just only is.
Oh my God,
All
now
right.
I'm like sweating in my turtleneck.
I'm definitely clipping that one for TikTok. That's for sure.
Okay, everybody, remember it's literally just a job. We'll see ya. Oh my God.